Morning guys, Dan here. It's 0 dark 100. I'm on my way to the High Country again this weekend, meeting Jason from Off the Beaten Path. Somewhere near Tambo's Crossing we're gonna meet up, so head to Bairnsdale then north toward Omeo.
This adventure will be split into several videos. Without spoiling it, we had to cut it short, and the grey dingo, my beloved 90 series Prado, may never be the same again.
Should be fun. The weather's going to be interesting. It's been raining for a few days and forecasted for the next few, so that'll be part of the adventure. It's about this time every trip, I think. Have I forgotten anything? I don't think I have. It was an absolutely beautiful morning coming through Gippsland, looking across the paddocks, all the low clouds and the fog. It was really pretty. Let's go find Jason. Give us a wave, Jason.
Jason stayed in Omeo last night. He had more driving to get here than I did, coming from the opposite direction.
We're at the start of the haunted stream track and we're airing down. It's always part of the ritual. Get off the bitumen and you've got to let your tyres down. I've got a new toy. I've been using a quick deflate tyre deflator, but I found that really finicky and I didn't like taking the valve core in and out all the time. So I've bought these CampBoss 4x4 Boss Air. You get 4 of these things and it's got markers for 5, 10, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 PSI, and you preset it. And then you just screw them onto your tyre, and it will bring it down to and stop at the marked PSI. So you can put 1, 2, 3, 4 on, sit back and wait, and it will deflate to a certain point on all 4 of your tyres. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if this is as advertised. So that's finished letting air out. But it's probably worth checking with the gauge. Let's see how close they were. Because it's just a thread that dictates the PSI, it's really finicky. So I wonder how plus or minus you can actually get with it. And that's actually saying closer to 15, which isn't good. So might see how we go with if the others are similar. But I went right on the needle, so maybe I need to leave a little bit more of the arrow showing, but we'll see. And we don't get much sand here in Victoria, so that's not much of a problem either.
No, I did learn that lesson at Stockton Beach. I went 20 front and rear, and we're still getting stuck on some of the dunes. And one of the locals said go down to 15, and went down to 15 and just drove it straight away.
But first, the most challenging four-wheel drive obstacle of them all, farm gates.
So we've just pulled up here. You can see Jace over there. All right guys, here we are. Down there is the haunted stream. We're just finally getting down close enough to the river. It doesn't look that high despite the rain we've had. So looks very pretty. Looking forward to getting down there.
Along the track there's signs and markers for ruins of mining towns of Stirling and Dogtown. Imagine the hard people that lived and worked out here in all seasons.
Yep, softer than I thought it was going to be.
Postcard picture at nearly any one of these crossings, couldn't you?
Yeah, I reckon.
Like with the tree ferns and the, you know, every crossing's got trees down across it and little mini waterfalls going on and the whole 9 yards, isn't it?
Pretty spectacular.
Worth the drive.
Here we are at the haunted stream track, and it's been pretty much like this. Beautiful river crossings in what feels almost like rainforest with all the ferns. The track just weaves over the river multiple times. 56 times I read, actually, so I asked Jason to keep count, but he hasn't, so no, I think he asked me actually. But this sort of thing is why I love doing this, getting outdoors, going to these places. There's not much evidence that anyone's been here recently. It's absolutely beautiful and feels good.
Track difficulty here is rated medium, which I'd probably agree with. I would avoid driving it in the wet. I reflected later that this track is not a flowy track. You never quite feel like you're in a rhythm. As soon as you build up speed, you're braking or you get punished with a sharp dip or unexpected obstacle. You never quite relax into it. It's well worth it though. The scenery is stunning. Some tracks have rhythm, this one doesn't. If you look at other videos of this track on YouTube, you'll see lots of mud and lots of winching with steep entries and exits from the river crossings. It's been closed a while and they've done a phenomenal job rebuilding. There's a few of these small quarries along the track. They supply the earth and the rocks for the track building efforts.
Alright, we made it to the end of the haunted stream track. I don't know how many of these water crossings you've got to go through before you get bored of them, but by the end I still wasn't bored of them. Absolutely spectacular scenery. At the end here is Dawson City Ruins, although I can't see much of a skyline and I'm not sure about the nightlife either, but apparently this was a city. Since last trip I've got new shocks on the Grey Dingo on the Prado and it's going really well, absolute chalk and cheese. The other ones were totally flogged out, so they're the new ones are Pedders foam cells, so they can't bottom out and they've got a much more cushioned ride when you're going over kind of sustained rough terrain. It just sort of evens out the ride much better than the cheap eBay ones that I had in there. So yeah, that's awesome. But how's this scenery, eh? Absolutely magic. This place might have the highest crime rate per capita in all of Australia. It's got bullet holes in it.
If you're new to the channel, Welcome. We're growing a community here that shares a love for camping simply. You can expect videos about camping, four-wheel driving and fire cooking. Subscribe, say hello to me in the comments. I'm glad you're here. We headed north, up out of the valleys and into the clouds. We took Dawson City Track, picking up Angora Range Road, west to Dorothy's Cutting Road, northeast to Mount Delusion Road, and then west on that to discover Mount Delusion Hut. And the transition into the clouds felt almost instantaneous. The silence was deafening.
We made our way up to Mount Delusion Hut. Really ominous just as we got up sort of above the clouds almost here. The fog creating this almost mystical, haunted feel. A lot of old mining history around here. So you don't have to venture too far, and there's relics and ruins hidden in the scrub. I can hear my voice echo. You probably can't hear it. All I can hear is the birds. So far we haven't had much rain, it's just trickling now. So they didn't lie to us, they said there'd be rain. Not much though.
Not in a great state of repair, but you know, somebody doesn't come and visit these things and take video footage of it, they'll be gone, and you know, there'll be 40-year-old photos of them and that's it.
Yeah, it's like we're doing our part.
Yeah, digital conservation. But yeah, that's the old mine access over there.
All right.
The best way to get there is not to go this way, it's to go down the road and then in.
If you watch Jason's video, once he edits it, you'll find out why. So I'm standing in front of what's actually an abandoned mine shaft, just near the hut here. So it's closed to the public. I probably wouldn't want to venture down there anyway, but it makes you curious what's down there.
The structure was built in 1939 as a forestry hut. Since our visit, I learnt the underground passage may not be a mine, but rather a bushfire bunker shelter. With the dam out the front, the stunning surrounding scenery, this might be one of my favourite high country huts. It needs some money spent and some TLC. As I said to Jason, I'm glad to share this place with you, so it is not forgotten. We went back east to Odells track, although Odells Hut is no longer there. We took Bayliss Spur track and rode Powers Gully track all the way down into the valley to the Cassilis historical area. If my wife asks whether the grey dingo got any scratches on this trip, please don't tell her about this part. So we're cruising along and Jace calls out that the road forks suddenly, and we weren't expecting it to. The left track is clearly the most well-driven track, and so that's the one we decided to go down. The wood on the sides of the road here should have been a giveaway, but we gave it the benefit of the doubt, and there were these big mounds of dirt creating drains across the road. First one, not too bad, got over it okay. Doesn't feel right, doesn't feel like what would be on a normal track. Second one, yeah, not too bad either. But this third one, it is steep. Yeah, pretty much got hung up on that. Jace has realised it's a logging truck, turning circle at the end there, dead end track. One last little hurdle here to try and get over before I can do a U-turn. And we head back out. Short detour, no harm done. Well, maybe a little bit of harm done. It's all part of the adventure.
We've made our way to the Cassilis mining site, the old mining site. It was a gold mine, very old. Jason said that this is one of the most dense areas for this kind of mining history in the high country, and it's pretty amazing. In this short area, there's car bonnets, there's pipes, there's boilers, there's wrecked cars, and to the right of frame here, to your left of frame, the hut. So pretty amazing, all this stuff still here. You don't want to hang around too long though. They used arsenic and different chemicals to separate the gold out, so they recommend not staying too long and not taking anything home with you. So absolutely magical spot, pretty amazing history.
I was curious about the contamination warnings and did some research. They built a cyanide plant here at Cassilis site in 1986, which I understand was for dissolving gold from the ore. Another dangerous metalloid, arsenic, can be naturally occurring in the dugout ore and can contaminate soil and water. In particular, I read processing of the ore to separate the sulfur and sulfur oxides can lead to high concentrations. I'm not a mineral metallurgist though. If anyone knows about this, I'm certainly interested.
So we've just taken a sidetrack down from the ruins and we've come across a mine site. So here's Jason in there. Danger, authorised access only. Oh, nearly fell over. So luckily I bought this giant headlight torch, and you can actually see all the way down there. How crazy is that? We estimated at least 60-70 meters before it changes direction. Isn't that amazing? Now let me just fiddle with my camera so that you can see it in the best light. There we go. Yeah. Wow.
Seems safe.
Yeah, there's not much timber there for that much hill, is there?
No.
I apply the she'll be right principle.
Yeah, look, I'm sure it's engineered.
Well, we didn't have to go too far to find another one, just up the same track there behind me. This one doesn't seem to go back as far. Jason's just said he's got an engine light come on in his vehicle, so that's not good. I can hear some birds trying to murder each other over there. Starting to get dark. We're going to go refuel in Omeo and find somewhere up a bit more north to camp, and we're doing Limestone Creek track tomorrow. What have you?
Ever optimistic way, we'll keep going to the end of this track.
What's happened?
Check engine light came on.
Again?
No DPF this time, and I didn't seem to actually, it doesn't seem like it's gone in limp mode.
probably can't see just how big this thing is behind me. We think it's some kind of separation drum or device that rotates and turns in these over this pit, and then separates out golds and other components from the earth. That's our theory anyway. But it's absolutely massive, and I'm not sure how old it is, but I'm determined to find out. Hello. This is the central hut of the mining site. It's got a steam engine that's been parked here. We don't know what it does. We had a long chat about it. We can't quite figure it out, but it's pretty magical, whatever it did. Beautiful bit of history. Just amazing.
It's a ghost town now, but in the late 1800s, there were up to 500 people living in King Cassilis mining centre. There was a general store, a government school, butcher, baker, and more. By the First World War, most of the gold from the quartz reefs was unearthed, and by 1933, the population fell to 34. And in 1939, many buildings were destroyed in bushfires and others were pulled down. It was time to make tracks after a wholesome day of exploring and experiencing the enchantment that the high country has to offer. We aired up, pointed towards the sunset, heading north through Benambra and shooting for the native dog campground, where we would continue our adventure tomorrow. See you then.